Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of August 26th, and we're moving into a new month of astrology. Can't hardly believe how fast August went by, but it has been a journey that always continues on. So we moving into new phases, definitely this week as Mercury has moved out of retrograde shadow. So our mind and our communication that had been slowed down for quite many weeks there. Mercury in Leo, really diving into our inner flame, are reigniting that flame in regards to our passions and our childlike spirit, and being bold and confident and courageous as the lion is, and very, very loyal. Those Leo traits came in very strong, and the Leo area of our birth charts has been through that Mercury retrograde. Well, Mercury is still in Leo, working its way now out of the retrograde shadows. That means we are in new territory, new thoughts, new ideas, new conversations, still in regards to those Leo themes. And this whole week, we'll see Mercury moving through the final 12 degrees of Leo. And then for next week's report, we'll talk about Mercury in Virgo, which is going to be quite the different change to the planet of communication. And we are officially in the eclipses now. We're in the eclipse portal. That new moon in Virgo last week kicked that off. The dark moon phase over with, and now in the very transformative time where we have interplay with the new and the full moons over the next, the next two lunar cycles, but really for the next three, because we have the Virgo new moon that opens everything. Then we get the full moon in Pisces, which is going to be an eclipse. Then we get the next new moon in Virgo. That's right. Virgo gets an extra new moon this time around. That is going to be an eclipse also. And then it won't be until that next full moon in Aquarius that we finally close out the eclipse portal. So we are in a very transformative time, and it's also known as having wild card energy. And this is because when we have interplay with the lunar nodes, the north and the south node, it is a time where we see cosmic course corrections play out in our lives and on the greater stage. Pisces and Virgo, it's known as the health axis. So the north node is all what we're trying to move into in our lives. The south node, what we are moving away from. They play out together during these eclipse times to bring us onto the correct paths and help us to move away from the non-benevolent paths. And sometimes this knowledge comes in very forcefully during eclipse times. That wild card is like, because you could just be surprised, very, very surprised about what takes place over the eclipse portal. So time to kind of strap in, put your seatbelt on, because it is a wormhole, and you could quite easily get slung and flung through a slingshot type of experience and energy. And of course, this is all benevolent because these lunar nodes and these greater cosmic forces hold the intelligence and the breaking of the code of life and of how we are to move about. So wild card energy in play for the next 6 weeks, and also a time during the eclipse portal when the veils between worlds are thin. So be very, very aware and pay attention and observe the messaging that's coming in during this time. And as we back up and out into the weekly report on the 26th, we have the moon in Libra. So the general feel, the vibe is very diplomatic, very graceful, very harmonious as we enter this report week. And Venus, the planet of love and money, really actually taking a big role this early on in this week. And that's because Venus is moving signs, just actually moved signs yesterday. So love and money and relationships and pleasurable things are Venus themes. And Venus, when moves, any planet, when they move into a new sign, is under the influence of a new focus, right? So Leo, we've already talked about the courageous Leo, loyal lion that has that inner flame that shines bright and is very aware of their purpose and sits in the purpose in a very comfortable, Leo is very comfortable in their skin and doesn't mind being the center of attention and, being kind of a looker. The Leo lion energy is having the mane, that big flowing mane that's just beautiful. And you just sit there with it and let the wind blow it and others enjoy that view. So Venus comes into Leo and very much changing our view and focus for relationships and finances, and coming into more of the spotlight. Leo is ruled by the sun and is the center of attention and wants that. So relationships, finances coming into the spotlight here. And as Venus is moving across the first degree of Leo, what does she encounter but this minor grand trine between the three outer planets? We have Pluto at about 2 degrees of Aquarius. We have Neptune between 1 and 2 degrees of Aries, and Uranus between 1 and 2 degrees of Gemini. This means that we have a rare outer planet aspect taking place. You can call it a minor grand trine. The two, Pluto and Uranus, are in a trine with each other, which is 4 signs apart. And then Neptune is sort of teeing off to them, a sextile 2 signs apart between those two. This minor grand trine is very supportive. It's very harmonious, and it is rare. These outer planets carry with them the greater themes and greater things that are happening out on the world stage, changing, shifting that grander vision for the world stage. When planets move into new signs and are at 1 to 2 degrees, just in general, they are ringing in new energies, and they're coming into, just like Venus moved into Leo, got new focuses. We've got these 3 planets also having new focuses and bringing the attention to new places. And they're in this highly harmonious aspect, which is really, really potent for leaning into the changes and leaning in to the harmony and balance balance here. And so what I'm trying to say is that we have some rare things going on between these theme changing planets, these zeitgeist changing planets, and the planet of relationships and finances. So new dreams and realities coming in. Also in an opposition to Pluto, decisions being made. So we could be making some real, true, transformative, highly permanent decisions regarding our finances or regarding relationships. This is building and moving things forward in regards to relationship and bringing in and changing the dynamics. There is an advancement. There is an inspiration here because Neptune is involved, and Pluto causes permanent changes to take place, and Uranus just wants change. So we are in an aspect where we are willing to try new things, and we are our goal is truly to embrace these new dynamics and be innovative. And then this is really carrying on into Wednesday. The moon shifts from Libra into Scorpio on the 27th. And this is an interesting day where we get the Libra moon, very sensitive and very much harmonizing and balanced. And then the moon moves into Scorpio, which is a very different type of energy. It's more emotional and it's more deep, and it likes to be more private and have less of that public time that Libra likes, where Libra is very social. Scorpio likes to be a little less social, but have these deep transformative experiences in terms of the intimate relationships, and is a very sensual type of energy. So we move into that for Wednesday, the 27th. And then that moon in Scorpio makes some aspects today that are a bit challenging. Wednesday looks to be like one of those days where you just observe and you just let things fall into place and you sit with the energy. You sit with it. There's not much action that can take place with 3 inconjuncts to this Scorpio moon on Wednesday and a square in the evening. So things just aren't really feeling too good on Wednesday. Wait until Thursday, because there is another aspect that is playing out throughout the whole week, but it's Uranus and Neptune. And I just mentioned that they're involved in this minor grand trine with Pluto. They're making aspects with Venus this week, but they're coming in to their exact sextile. And this brings in new creative possibilities, really helps us dream those big dreams and allow the fantasies to take foot, really, really dream and create a revolution and have some revelation. Neptune is about the dissolvement of all of the details and is about unconditional love and unconditional connection with source energy. And this sextile here, it is rare because these planets move so slowly. That's why these aspects are quite rare. Uranus in Gemini is bringing in newness to Gemini themes. This is where you would go to your own astrological birth chart to see where these slow-moving planets are moving across your birth chart. These slow-moving planets are not going to make it around the whole wheel. So you just play with these smaller areas of your birth chart with these outer planets. And Uranus takes quite a few years, several years to move through a sign. So we just had Uranus in Taurus. Taurus is that earth sign that got the ground shaken by Uranus over the past several years. And now we have Gemini with Uranus, which we are going to see a lot of quick moving energy. Gemini is another air sign, and Uranus rules an air sign and is in a trine to its own sign that it rules, Aquarius. And so it's going to be quick. Uranus brings in revolution, revelation, and change very, very quickly. So also Neptune in Aries. Neptune is the dreamer. And Aries is the go-getter. It's ruled by Mars, Aries is. And so never afraid to take action and start something new with Aries energy. And Neptune is here, dreaming new dreams, freshly into a new sign, but not just a new sign, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it gets a breath of this newness, almost gets reborn as a brand new little infant conceived there, crossing the 0 degree point of Aries. So we've conceived some new ideas, some new dreams, some new hopes and desires and fantasies. And we're seeing glimpses into these new things that we are trying to manifest in life. But Neptune is retrograde right now. So Neptune inevitably will move back to Pisces and finish some things there. And that is what the rest of this report is about this week, because Saturn is moving back to Pisces also on September 1st. So we get a brand new calendar month with a fresh energy. And this Saturn is bringing some heaviness back to the Pisces area, retrograding back to accepting these responsibilities for the collective, and things from the past are going to start coming up again now that we have Saturn back in Pisces. Pisces full moon is what we're building to. We have the North Node in Pisces. So for that nice breath of fresh air that we had, we do, excuse me, have some Pisces things to finish. We have completion. We have to end some old things first before moving forward. And this fresh energy of forward movement comes in 2026. This retrograde of Neptune Saturn, I'm going to be taking a little while. I'm getting a little choked up here. And that's like, you know, these synchronous things. That's how this Saturn in Pisces feels. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a little knot in my throat again, because we were already here, right? We've already been here, and it's like, I thought we already were done with this. Things from the past are coming up because we are going to be going through another time before March of next year of, going back through the old things to close them out once and for all. It's an era of closing out the victimhood mentality, taking accountability for our emotions, and using our imagination and our connection to the higher powers and our spirituality and our intuition there to solve these problems. And Saturn is going to bring the grounding and the realism in to do it. We just are going to have to see beyond our five senses in Pisces and begin to take full responsibility. This Saturn will move back to 25 degrees of Pisces by February of 2026. And Then we will start the process back out of it. But there will be plenty of time to chat more about that. I really appreciate you being tuned in here to the Cosmic Community Astrology with the Galactic Ambassador, Stacy Dredd. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will be chatting with you again very soon. Take good care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.